A warm welcome to you this Friday, November 16. It's time for your Barbados Today Evening News Update. Doing business is set to move to the next level with the official launch of the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Digitization Project. Minister of International Business Ronald Toppin says it's a critical move. He made clear that factors including the ease and time for registering a business was critical.
For Barbados to be competitive as a jurisdiction of choice in the international business sector, and for international and local investments to abound, it is critical that a level of efficiency be attained in the corporate registry's operations. And when we say level of efficiency, we are referring to the significant reduction that is required in the timelines for the completion of the services presently being performed by CAIPO. Factors such as the ease with which companies can be incorporated and registered, the time involved for the completion of all post-incorporation and registration transactions, as well as related matters for the setting up of business operations, all redound to an environment that is more conducive to doing business in Barbados and are of tremendous importance to potential investors and business persons.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley said as government continues to roll out its digitalization program, public sector workers must leverage the technology and offer the public greater help, declaring that the technology was as good as the persons who use it and as strong as the legislation and policy allowed it to be.
What I want to see within the civil service now and the regulatory agencies is that kind of can-do attitude, or the attitude that we've done the same thing in the new planning legislation, which Cabinet agreed yesterday to proclaim, I think from the December 1st, no? And that is, how do we make things happen? How do we give people a sense of this is what your path should be to secure approval? Rather than a person wondering, if I do this, they're going to agree, or if I do this, they're going to agree. That is a loss of time and energy that this economy does not have the luxury of being able to lose. And that what we therefore require is a pathway that gives people certainty, advice that is transparent to all, but above all else, with a smile in our hearts, the capacity to say together, yes, we can. Why? Because we have enough battles fighting on the outside. And we don't need any more battles on the inside. And part and parcel of this journey to the republic, parliamentary republic, is to be able to create the confidence that we can deconstruct and that we can reconstruct and that we can guide and regulate our own affairs with respect to being anchored in sound principles that have come from that deconstruction and that understanding of what is it we really want to do.
The restoration of the Barbados Parliament, expected to cost some $6 million, should be completed by the first quarter of next year. Word of this from Housing Minister Dr. William Dugate as he updated reporters on a tour of the institution this morning. He said the work, which started just under a year ago to address a water issue in the library area, has since expanded to major reconstruction. And while there have been some delays, the work is now on track.
As we looked through and looked at all of the additional work that we had to do, it changed to a complete restoration for all of Parliament. Because what we found is that we had a lot of termite damage, a lot of the joists underneath the floor. We found that we had to change out the floor and make it a floor that has its own ventilation rather than being a concrete floor, and we changed over a lot of the concrete floors to wood floors. A lot of the intricate work for the windows had to be improved because a lot of the windows were termite eaten, and we had to change out the air condition as well. So it has been a tremendous amount of work that has gone into the total restoration of this building to bring back a building that's almost 150 years old to what it used to be and to its former glory. And it has not only encompassed the work that is done here in the lunch area and all of the bathrooms we've improved and upgraded as well, but we've also gone into both chambers, the Senate and the lower house, to be able to improve the facilities in there as well, to remove all of the damp, to remove a lot of glass fiber that we found as well, and also to generally raise the standard from an environmental point of view and let this building once again be a shining beacon for the city of Bridgetown.
Maintenance supervisor in the Ministry of Housing, Terrell Innes, said local artisans have been using the best methods to restore the buildings to their former glory while ensuring there are critical improvements.
And what we have actually done now in this case is that we have made sure that every window in this building can open fully and that it has the hurricane protection that it had originally. We are making sure that shutters work, and we are making sure that ventilation systems work. We are making sure that the environment from the outside is kept outside. The building management system that was done for this building is state of the art. So persons who would have had acute issues with their respiratory systems when it comes to allergies and stuff like that, those things will be a thing of the past. So when you come into Parliament, especially if you're in the House or in the Senate, you're going to find that it's going to be an improved system when it comes to the internal environment.
4 women and 1 man are the latest COVID-19 victims. On Wednesday, 2 women aged 72 and 84 died at the Accident and Emergency Department of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and the Harrison's Point Isolation Facility, respectively. On Thursday, a 43-year-old woman lost her battle with the viral illness at the Accident and Emergency Department. Today, a 77-year-old woman passed away at the Harrison's Point Isolation Facility, while a 92-year-old man also died at the Blackman and Gollop Isolation Facility. Their deaths bring their lives lost to COVID-19 so far to 223. Health authorities reported 154 new positive cases from 1,364 tests conducted by the Besta Santos Public Health Laboratory. There were 563 people in isolation facilities and 3,818 in home isolation. Under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of persons who are fully vaccinated is 136,103. That's 50.2% of the total population or 59.6% of the eligible population.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, my name is Christian Paul. I'm the country manager of BCIC here in Barbados. When the COVID vaccine first came out, I thought it was an interesting and a potentially successful way for us to navigate our way out of the pandemic and a return to some state of normalcy. I took the vaccine because I have a young family. I want to make sure that they are safe and protected. I have friends, extended family, and obviously I work here with colleagues, so I thought it was a good way to help protect them and to keep them safe, as well as myself. I would encourage others to take the vaccine because I know that you can still transmit the disease even if you're vaccinated, but the chances of being severely ill or worse, dying are significantly reduced.
Let's roll up our sleeves and get back to living.
To regional news, 1 week after the Guyana government announced a pay hike for civil servants, President Irfan Ali has found himself pushing back against criticisms he believes are being driven by some union leaders. News from Guyana is tracking the story.
In a scathing rebuke of criticisms of the government's recently announced 7% across-the-board salary increase for public servants, President Irfan Ali on Friday defended the offer and said public servants are better off under his government than they were under the former APNU-AFC administration. The president took particular umbrage to the concerns being aired by union leaders and said they are persons parading as trade union actors, but they are actually political actors driven by an agenda. The president disparaged as far from the truth claims that some $10 billion was set aside in the 2021 budget for salary increase. He said, although the monies were listed under a line item, it also addresses year-round adjustments to wages and emoluments and caters for new employees in the public sector.
I appeal to the union to take off their political hat. Take off their political hat and put on the hat of reality, the hat of fairness, and in a comprehensive way, they too should applaud the government.
On the international front, the discovery in South Africa of a new coronavirus variant triggered global alarm on Friday as countries rushed to suspend travel from a number of countries in southern Africa, and stock markets on both sides of the Atlantic suffered their biggest falls in more than a year.
Highly transmissible and potentially resistant to existing vaccines. It's been described by scientists as the worst ever COVID variant, dubbed B11529. Cases have been identified in Botswana, Hong Kong and South Africa. The British government is already scrambling to respond, putting travel restrictions in place from this Friday.
We will be suspending all flights from 6 southern African countries, and we will adding those countries to the travel red list. Those countries are South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, and Zimbabwe and Botswana.
South Africa is believed to have the largest outbreak. The country has seen a rapid rise in infections, going from around 200 new cases a day to more than 2,400 on Thursday. The first clusters were found in Pretoria and the surrounding area and sprang up from gatherings of students. Scientists are working to see if the new variant is behind the surge. There's worries that mutations in B11529 could make existing vaccines less effective.
We see a lot of mutations in the spike protein that might affect how well the virus is neutralized. And they give us concern that these might give the virus enhanced transmissibility.
Few South Africans are protected against any variants. Only around 41% of the adult population have been vaccinated, and the number of shots being given daily is less than 130,000, significantly below the government's target of 300,000 a day.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.